Let me know. Okay. Okay, the September meeting of the Board of Water Commissioners is called to order. That's probably Joanne now. Reading of the minutes of the previous meeting. Do I have a motion to accept, or there?
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You guys are still going through the presentation of, are you still doing the,
Yeah, no,
you're done?
Yep.
Well, we might as well handle that then. Presentation of bills and accounts.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, since Mr. Darling is here, why don't we, I guess, open the floor to you, since you're, I'm assuming you're here to speak to us.
Yes, I don't know if you called here a couple.
Yeah.
Months ago. I just wanted to give you the status and comments and a couple questions. So the leak is fixed, it was this hole.
Okay.
And this hole cost me $9,000. Now, I make just under $44,000 a year. I think it's absurd to have to pay that much money. Now, all due respect to Mr. Noble, he said that there was a shut-off valve. No one could find it, the water department couldn't find it, Fort Jones Plumbing couldn't find it, the gentleman, Freddie Heffer, who fixed it, couldn't find it, so I had to pay to dig an additional hole. So, I don't want this to happen to myself again, or anybody else. So I'm here to ask and see if you will commit to putting a water main on Kingston Terrace. I want to poll everybody and see if you'll do it. Because I think this is absurd, that I have to cover 250 to 300 feet, and I pay the same amount as 90% of Kingston that just have to cover from their house to the water main.
Well, I'm not gonna commit until I know what it's gonna cost the water department, but if your pipe went from your house out to our main, and the main was still in front, and you had a hole like that in that pipe, it was still gonna cost you or whoever the water customer is, probably similar to dig up the
Well,
street,
If I may,
find the hole and replace the broken
If I may
pipe.
interrupt you, I had somebody who a friend of mine was gonna do it for half the price. Okay,
Yeah,
unfortunately, there was a conflict in scheduling, and he couldn't do it. I was out of town for a funeral, I came back, I got a certified letter, said, if it's not fixed, we will fix it for $16,500. I said, could you please wait, I have this guy who'll do it for half. No, can't wait. Why can't we wait?
well, that's the first I've heard of that. I know you were here 2 or 3 months ago.
Mhm.
And at that point in time, when you left here, we were under the impression that you had someone for like 3,000 or something.
It's $4,500.
And we were under the impression when you left here that you were gonna start that process.
Oh,
And then it went a month or two, and we had no response from
You
you.
didn't answer first. Unfortunately, you didn't, listen, again. Does everybody wanna tell me what they make per year? I'm raising 2 kids, I've been a taxpayer, I've lived here my whole life. I had to scrape up the money, I'm sorry if I don't have the money that you people have, to just shell it out right away. I was saving up to do it. I mean, and then I get a letter, you're gonna put a lien on my house? Like, how dare you? Like, who the hell are you people? Like, that's ridiculous. Now, we can avoid this all and put a water main. My house was built in 1969. And it was the last house on the street. You've been collecting money from these people all this time, and you've done absolutely nothing to fix the infrastructure. That is criminal in my mind. So if you guys don't wanna fix it because of how much, I don't even know what your budget is, then fine. I'll sue the water commission, I'll sue every single one of you people individually. Because it's negligence that everything else in the city gets updated. Why can't this be updated? That's absurd.
Well, without knowing the cost, I'm not making any commitment to anyone about,
That's good. I'll find out where you live, and since a city street is public property, I'll pick it. I'll pick at all your houses and let your neighbors know what kind of people you are. It's ridiculous. You've had 70 years, you could have made it what, you didn't even have a stopcock to shut it off. This is the problem with this country, the people in power just shit on the little people, and we're tired of it, and I'm not putting up with it anymore. It's absolutely absurd. Why do I pay the same for somebody who has, what, 20 feet of pipe, and I gotta cover 300 feet of pipe? If you have $1 million house, you're gonna pay the same as $1,000 house for taxes? No. There's no sliding scale or anything. This whole thing is absolutely absurd and unfair, and people are gonna know about it.
I can just say that all the members on this board had nothing to do with that, but when somebody built a house on that street, they knew there was no services in that road. And they committed to do it anyway and run a private line to that was their choice. They chose to do
That was
it.
7 years ago. What about updating infrastructure? You came in for the stop valve and, shut off valve on the end of the thing. They had to go digging. They accidentally shut my neighbor's water off because they didn't know which one it was.
I think theoretically, there should have been a meter pit put in. And that would have been, why that wasn't put in is before our time, and we
Yeah,
don't know
but
why, but.
I get that, but let's go up with the times. I get, somebody dug a sewer line there. Why didn't you guys put a water main? I mean, I know what you're saying. We weren't on the commission, but. It's 2024. Let's get with it. I see all these, the lying mayor, who lied to my face, is not here for, he wants to pretend to stick up for the little people with like a rent, reduction or something. What about somebody like me? I grew up, I went to Kingston High School. I pay my water bill, I pay my taxes, and this is what I get? So what are you telling me? I can block off the street over my service line, the whole way up the street, is that gonna be accepted? I put cones out and stuff.
I'm not sure what do you mean, putting cones out?
I don't want anybody driving over what could be where my service line is.
Well, I don't know where your service line is, so.
I do,
Okay,
so I can do that.
I don't know, I don't know, if I have the authority to tell you, you can do that.
So you never found a shut off.
Nobody's up here.
So how did they shut the water off?
They dug a hole and there's something down below, and they did several different lines before they found
So
mine.
they had to dig out on the street on
Mm-hmm,
East Chester Street
correct,
to shut it at the main.
correct.
You should have definitely put one in when they had it shut off though. I mean, that was, because the same thing can happen. Why that hole got in there, I don't know. It doesn't look like it came from inside. It looked like something dented it or put a hole in it somehow. or
Well,
rock.
your guys from Water Commission were digging right where this hole was, like a year and a half ago.
Well, it doesn't even look like it was like injured or anything. I don't know what would cause a hole like that.
It's like a functional.
It had to be very small, like
It doesn't look
a
like
rock.
it's
It doesn't even look like electrolysis or anything. There was like no
Yeah.
metal on it or anything. It's just.
I mean, it's just absurd, like, I'm so tired of hearing like, hey, I wasn't on the Water Commission, 70 years ago. I get that, but here, this is the situation. I want someone to make it right.
Well, we'll have to get a price and see what we think. I mean, we're under a budget and anything that we increase that's not in the budget, we'll have to go to the water bill and raise everybody's rates. So that's what we have to consider.
Your other neighbors feel the same way, and maybe talk to the rest of your street. Do they know that this condition exists for them as well?
I spoke to the neighbor across the street and they're not happy about it. But I don't understand, like, the city is constantly digging up I understand it's like not all for wars of gas and stuff like that, to update infrastructure and. I'm just tired of hearing like, sorry, but that's the way it goes.
Well, the reason it's not there is because it was very cost prohibitive to do it, because it's a rocky road.
Right.
And it's blasting and all that, and that's a big liability to try and blast and residents and other piping and
Yeah.
all that, so it all has to be looked in.
With all due respect, they did it for the sewer line.
We'll have to check with them too, to see how the water or the DPW did that, right?
I guess, yeah, I'm assuming they did. I don't know who did it unless the contractor did it. I mean, generally, I don't know.
Were they going to an individual home, or was that just put in, everybody tied into it?
I'm sorry.
Was it an individual line, or was everybody tied
Everybody has an individual line all the way up to,
for the sewer? I'm talking about?
oh, for the sewer, I'm not so sure.
And do you know if all those houses were constructed around the same period of time?
Or they were constructed before my house, and my house was the last one on the street.
And so they probably just went down.
You were before Freddie Hefner's house?
Freddie Hefner's on Tammany.
Oh, he's on the next one over.
Yeah, exactly.
We can look in to see what it would cost, but obviously I'm not gonna make a commitment to you or anyone at this point in time until the board has an opportunity to see what the cost would be.
Okay, well, why? So let's, if you don't mind, let's revert back. I had somebody do it for cheaper, why couldn't we wait?
I don't know.
Well, if you don't know, who doesn't it?
Well, this is the first time I'm hearing about it,
We were
so.
told it was gonna be at least 2 months. We
Okay,
spoke to the plumber.
okay,
We had it all, you had it all lined up. He said it was all lined up to go in 2 months ago.
mhm,
And he was told that the owner wanted to hold off so he could fight it.
right, so I can hear, and then there was a scheduling conflict. So why couldn't we wait a couple months?
There's a lot of water that's been blowing.
Oh, but yet
Months.
you can pump 10,000 gallons a day into that and jet a pool. Come on, don't take me for a fool.
We don't do that.
Yeah,
So the only thing I can commit to you right now is that we'll try to do a study to see what it would cost to put a main down there.
I can commit to you, I'm not dropping.
Okay.
This is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. I'm sorry for language, but like I said, lifelong city resident, worked my ass off. I have 2 kids and $9,000. You know what that does to me?
Sure.
And again, I want to answer right now. Why do I pay the same amount when I have to cover all that line as somebody else?
Pay the same amount.
In water bill. But yet I'm liable for all that distance.
Well, you're liable because
Because you guys
whoever,
didn't put a water main in.
well,
That's why I'm liable, because you guys didn't put a water main in.
well, maybe the contractor was responsible for putting a water main in. And then they dedicate it back to the city. Generally, that's what happens when subdivisions or new developments go in. It's part of the selling of the property. It includes water and sewer services, and it's all built into the cost of buying a lot in a subdivision.
Obviously.
And then they dedicate it back to the municipality, and then it's the municipality's responsibility from that time forward.
Well,
And so back then, I guess the contractor decided that he didn't want to go ahead and pay for the extra cost of putting utilities down there.
that makes sense to me, but again, you've collected money from everybody on the street for 70 years. You could have put a little aside, that's mismanagement.
Well, you're paying for the cost of the water, just like everybody else is. We don't sit there and say, well, this
I'm
person,
also paying to cover the service line, obviously, I got a much longer service line than everybody else.
right, and that was the decision that was made by the person who built the home 70 years ago. And they were accepting that responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah, why no updating in the infrastructure? That was 70 years ago, 70 years ago.
There's no funding for these cups thing, there isn't. If you would look at what we are under and what the state is requiring us to do for just the dams. And the money we are trying to raise for them, that is mandatory.
Mhm.
Okay, so, you just need, it isn't that people don't want to do things. So. You know, isn't that people over the years have decided that they're just not going to do this.
Mhm.
Okay, this is not the intention of anybody.
But yet, when the city gives me an estimate, it was 16,500, like, come on. That's, you're just gouging. That's ridiculous. And like I said, I had somebody do it for even half. I get it. Nobody wants to say anything, I got it. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Okay.
This is not going away. Promise. I promise, it's not going away. Mhm. Of course, we're getting tired in this country. Tired of being pressed on.
How much we just spent for the dam? I mean, it's kind of investment for it.
18.8,
18
How much?
18.7, 18.8.
70, okay.
How many people are serviced on that street?
Hmm?
Six.
There's 6 houses. And it's a similar situation on is it Tammy or Tammany?
Tammy.
Tammy?
Quite a few streets.
There's more than just this,
Is it all on that end of our service? It's all,
now, I think there's some down,
There's some on Quarry Street.
well, right, we have the one right next to JWB or where,
You buy a property with a service and you know you have to run it, it's your responsibility. I mean,
A lot of people unfortunately just don't know it until something like this happens. You know, so it is like an education. If you are going to buy a property, you have to know all these
That's
things about it, which,
better be one.
you
I
know,
mean, we
until something happens, a lot of people just don't realize it. You know, unfortunately.
Yeah,
10 or 15 years ago, the cost would have been a lot less to do something like that.
I mean, $9,000 still is,
Yeah, and it is.
whether the service was in front of the house or not, it's not
Mhm.
far from what it would have been anyway. And I do believe they were advised to put in a curb stop and they had a whole.
oh, they were after they.
Ryan went there, I believe he advised them to do that and they
The
chose.
same
not to.
thing is gonna happen again, you know?
That's what we said.
Mhm.
Ryan went there and he said you should do it while you have the hole open. And it
Exactly.
closed, and they did not.
What's the
Okay,
additional
so-
cost to put a curb stop in?
An extra,
When it's
some
open.
fittings and a piece of
Yeah,
copper,
you already got the hole dug, that's where all the money was, you know?
so
Well, if it wasn't
$100
copper, if
maybe.
it was a cast pipe, it would,
if it was lead, they would have to do the whole thing.
it's
From
It is
from to the house, it would,
to the main.
it would be 300 feet of copper, but it wasn't, he was lucky it was copper. Or it would have been 40,000. But I tried to explain it to him in July, saying that we were gonna send a letter at some point with prevailing wage costs.
Yeah, I mean,
And we explained it when he came to the meeting, and so, I don't know, I guess we'll
I
see
mean,
where it goes.
did he contact us or contact you guys about asking
upgrade
for a
that.
delay for a month?
It was at least 2, and the plumber did not seem like he was anxious to do it, so.
I mean, it's been leaking for how long, so, I mean, I guess we could have to save them half the amount, but. So I guess, we don't have to discuss that now in the agenda, huh?
No, we're good.
Yeah,
Check.
check mark. Okay, moving on. Cooper Lake improvements.
At this point, they had to finalize a survey on the main dam. I believe they're coming in next week to take the final shots. And then we're just waiting on the screen chamber stairs and treading, which I don't have a date for yet, but that will be coming. soon.
So it's a screen
So the actual,
chamber
the
stairs.
dam itself, other than the survey, is done. So it's just the additional screen chamber that we added that doesn't really,
You know, what's the survey for? We were saying,
just for like the elevations and where things are for the as-built.
okay, as built.
So that's really the final piece to the original project. The screen chamber is kind of like an add-on that we did, yeah.
Right. But the as-bills are the responsibility of the the engineering contract.
Yeah, but the contractor has to submit the,
That, and then they actually do,
review all the surveys.
Schnabel,
Yes.
Schnabel will do a set of ads built so that we have, okay. Engineering report, let's,
Nothing really this month, just an update. We had talked last month about.
no, that's right, this
putting
is,
some projects together for a listing onto EFC's,
this is from CDM.
yes, so about listing on the IUP. So we had a call 2 weeks ago, I want to say, with CDM. So by the October meeting, I'll have a price for what that engineer report with the stamp plans that you need the stamp plan to submit to EFC before you can get listed as a project. So we talked about several different projects and they're gonna give me a price to prepare that report for those.
I mean, jumping into the service, like, what would it cost for someone to do a study to figure out how much it would cost? I mean,
I would have to ask somebody. I mean, for reference, I could go back to see what we paid for Darren Larios for Quarry Street.
okay,
That's probably the closest thing to it.
yeah,
I think Chelsea, that was 15. I don't know, that's what I remember.
well, it'd be 15 for the engineering,
That Larry-
Study. and then what would the construction cost? Then his report would indicate what it would cost to actually do the work.
Yeah. We'd have to go just
Sure, that would
into
be
our
like
notes.
And if you're gonna do that street, you probably have to do the other
Oh,
street.
yeah, well, why is this one getting done, not the other,
Exactly.
and the one here? So I'm just,
Then the
I mean,
whole
I-
city probably has other areas that don't have water mains.
There definitely are areas.
well, what did quarries, that was a larger,
That was a big project, but
yeah, I mean,
in terms of the engineering reports up front, that would be the closest. I mean, I can just call.
This-
them,
yeah, you could just-
ask them, but,
what was the size of the main on quarry? That was much bigger though than
That
this.
was 12.
And what size main would go down for 6 houses?
Nothing smaller than a 6.
Oh, okay,
You
really?
know, 4 is, there's no point, putting 4 is more expensive than 6 anyway.
Okay,
The pipe itself actually costs more.
well, maybe between now and next month, you can at least make a phone call or two and give us a rough idea, just saying, well, we did this here and this is this far and this is this, and so approximating that the cost would be like $1.2 million. So at least if he said he's not gonna give up on this, and we I kind of committed that we would look into it.
Yeah, what is his address? And the first name,
28 Kingston Terrace,
first name?
Robert, I thought, darling.
Robert or Roger? I don't know. It's probably with an R.
It's Robert.
Robert, yeah, because there's,
Yeah,
I went to school with
yeah,
a Robert Darling also, so that's kind of caught my attention that I know someone else with the same name.
I mean, just from my own memory, what's our law or policy on wells? I mean, if there's no,
He would have to come to the board and ask for that permission.
even if we don't provide a main or access to water.
You mean if there was a new, you mean a new property?
Yeah, a house went up there and they said, well, I don't wanna run a line all the way to Westchester Street.
I think they still have to come to the board and state this is why. But I don't-
Right, and that may be a case where we would grant them.
Yeah.
Saying, well, they don't want to take the responsibility and the costs associated with running one and then having.
Right.
Because there's no water's not available, reasonably available.
Right.
So, but yeah, they have to get a approval and a permit from us for a well.
Well, I think ground would have to be, right, they have to do a perk test with the county.
It would be-
Well, not for a well.
It'd be a pretty heavy upfront cost, I'm sure.
You'd
but-
have to.
No, just a septic.
If the sewer main is there, they can run their sewer into, because they don't have. I mean, depending if there's a lot of rock
I
up there, they
can't
probably
believe they
wouldn't.
ran a sewer line all the way
I don't
down
know,
the
I
street.
don't know
It just seems a bit,
That's-
Yeah, well,
that's probably a 6-inch, 8-inch, something like that, may go through.
maybe in your time you could, or even have
I can ask if there's, I don't know if there's a sewer line on that street or not.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would be nice to know, because he's throwing that out there as, well, they put a sewer main down.
yeah, right.
So if there's not a sewer main,
It'd be the same thing with Briggs.
same, there's an individual line that would go to the main.
Go to wherever there's probably a manhole someplace,
And I
wherever.
believe in the city, the homeowner also is responsible for the sewer lateral. I don't know.
Oh, they are,
percent, but I believe
because
that-
I was in my house like 2 or 3 years in the middle of the
There you
city,
go.
and I had a problem with my sewer line, it was backing up.
Responsible all the way to the main.
Correct.
And yeah, and so I had to replace cast iron from inside the house all the way out to the middle of
Street.
the street.
So it's very possible.
And my sewer line was, so I mean, I bet you it cost me $2,500 to put a sewer line in for 3,000, and that was 45 years ago.
What's that, made of? Sewer line.
Well, I had to put in cast iron, 4-inch, 6
We
inches.
see clay, we see plastic.
And I think they probably allow PVC now, right, Jim?
Yes, oh,
On,
yeah.
on sewer lines, but back 40-some years ago, I had to put in cast iron from
SDR 35.
all the way from my house to the main.
We try not to expose it. It's just asking for trouble.
And us digging,
I wasn't going to address that, but we've never done that street.
Okay.
There was his neighbor on his side had a water leak at some point recently, and that's what the patch is. He has a patch in his driveway.
Okay.
So I spoke to him, I actually spoke to the homeowner, because he lives on the street over and owns a home next to him, so. Yeah, that wasn't the Kingston Water. It could have been somebody else, but it wasn't the Kingston Water Department.
okay. So we kind of did commit to doing some type of cost
I'll make
analysis.
this call.
Thanks.
I do
Okay.
have something not on the agenda.
Hmm?
I have something
Anything
that's
else?
on the agenda.
Okay, you want to do that now?
Sure, it kind of fits here. So SCADA on call, we did this back in August of 2022. And the hope was it would get us at least 2 years. It's not empty yet.
What's this now?
The SCADA on call that we have with CDM to maintain the
Oh,
SCADA
okay.
system that we operate, to oversee our whole system. So I have an amendment here for another 20. We're nearing the end of that 20 we did back in August of 22.
So this is a contract with CDM.
Yep, for SCADA support.
Okay, status.
And this is for how much is the contract?
Wasn't sure what.
The original was 20,
Yeah,
and this will be another 20,000.
20,000.
And the hope is again, it'll get us.
And it's for how long?
It's a lump sum, they're not lump sum, but it's the hope is another 2 years.
Okay, so there's not a contract period. It's basically whenever we use up $20,000 based upon
So
I mean, if we have
they
10 calls in 2 months versus 10 calls in
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah, it took us 2 years to use that.
And it's still not gone. It should be able to get us through the end of next month.
So you have a contract there, or do we need, I assume we need a motion
So it's
to,
like a service contract.
Yes, yeah, so I have an amendment, this will be amendment number 1 to the on-call services and SCADA support agreement. For another 20 for a total of 40.
okay, so we need a motion. Is this a change order to something else, or is this just a
It's an
separate
amendment
contract?
to the original one. I mean, we're tied to CDM with this SCADA, because they have all the.
So we need a motion, I guess.
Yes.
I'll make the motion to renew this. This SCADA support system with CDM for $20,000.
Do you have an hourly rate for that?
I have a bunch of hour rates, so it depends on who's doing what. So I mean. Anywhere from $61 an hour to $215.
Depending on what.
Who it is that we're using. So I mean, we try to start with different people that do different things for it. So it's only 2 people we're working with, so for the most part.
Well, like if it needs higher level support, it gets kicked to someone.
Right. So there's two main SCADA people that we work with at CDM, Matt and Madeline. And they do most of the SCADA work for us. So they're very familiar with our system. They know the alarms, the graphics, and they build it all out for us. They were the same people that did the Cooper Lake SCADA. They built that out. They came to the site when SCADA had to be fired up at Cooper, and they do all that. So I mean, I have the breakdown.
You get invoices from them
Yes,
whenever
and it
they.
shows who it is and what the title is, and they're within these ranges.
Well, it's kind of like any other contract when you have from an engineering firm, it's like, well, the technician's hourly rate is this and the head of the company's rate is,
Whatever it is.
depends on your rate bill versus your secretary's rate.
I didn't, well, I just, what is it set, is that gonna be the rate?
It's on the agreement.
Like next year, they're not gonna $20,000 a minute or something.
No, it has to be within, it has to be these rates based on the agreement. So it's in the agreement itself. Those rates.
I'll second it.
Any
You
further?
call up and you get my secretary, she charges more than.
Oh, okay. So I'll make sure I call you then.
She knows the answers.
Okay, any other further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And carried.
Got one other non-agenda item. that came
Okay.
up. So at the last meeting, we approved the bid for the roofs.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike had sent out the email about the questions that the board has, so we moved forward with that. So today, in the bid documents that were drawn up, it calls out Timberline whatever it is, and he's recommending that we use this other UHDZ instead,
Did he say the cost difference?
8,000 additional.
And it's readily available?
He did not.
No, go ahead, you talked to me.
Yeah, he made no indications that it wouldn't be available.
And what, in this, just this color, like this color, weatherwood?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Shingles, I don't know anything about
do you
shingles.
want my opinion?
I mean, did you see the email that he sent?
No,
It just came today.
You said from each state?
So the roofing contractor, he's recommending we use those shingles on the bottom instead of the ones in the book.
Okay,
And it's an additional $8,000, and he sent this email, so
So
like this afternoon.
it used to be that there was a 50-year and a 30-year. So they did away with that whole warranty system, and now they both carry what they call a limited lifetime warranty, which is really just free of defects. So the Ultra used to be the 50-year, and it's a thicker shingle. It used to carry, longer life. Used to carry a higher wind rating. We used to use it on new construction once in a while. I'd say now we very rarely use it, and they're kind of hard to find. I'm surprised he can get them.
So you don't see a reason necessarily to upgrade to those and just.
No, because it carries the same warranty, and
Kind of sounds like he low bidded to get the job and now he's trying
He
to.
still do significantly.
Up
lower than the other
his-
ones.
yeah, but I think it's still significantly.
Yeah, so I
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so, he'll have to submit certified payroll on all this.
Yeah.
Who reviews that?
I mean, it comes through our office here.
Okay,
I mean,
so I would still, wondering how he's
yeah,
able to do this job, but whatever. I wouldn't
your recommendation is,
recommend going to, there's no real upside to it because the warranty system is the same. It's still covered by this limited warranty. If we were in some like super high wind area, like there's certain areas in Hudson Valley that have weird wind things, like on the downside of the Schwangunks, like Wallkill, New Paltz, Gardner, they're in this like weird wind area where this shingle would hold up better to the wind, I guess, but where the plant is, I don't.
well, I figured we'd be in a unique position to review that change order since.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
more
this is what I,
a pretty good input.
and we use this product probably 80% of the time. We use the
Okay.
standard, used to be the 30-year, now it's called the HDZ. The Ultras, I'm surprised you can get them. I didn't think they were readily available, but, that's got
Again,
We'll stick with what we did then.
Yeah, he made no indication whatsoever that that would be difficult to get. You know, last time I spoke, he still said where he's looking at October. His plan is to do it, have 2 crews running at the exact same time, one on each site, and do it basically, you know, maybe a Friday to a Monday.
Well, maybe that's why they are more expensive, because they're hard to get. You know,
Well, and they're for-
So this is for the plant
They're like-
and
Normally,
here.
Not, yeah, down, not.
Yeah.
there's less, so normal shingles are 3 bundles to 100 square feet, where the ultras are 4 bundles to 100 square feet, so you need more bundles to cover the same square footage. They're thicker, so there's less shingles in the packet.
okay.
But they're very similar.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, but no thank you. We need to take a vote on that, or
No, we're staying with what we had originally, so, because the other ones were in the original bid package.
so you can just respond saying, thank you for your offer, but no thank you.
And that's the color that they're using.
That's what he was just, that is just what he showed in his email to show the difference between the
Is
two.
this-
This
is the color they're using, the weatherwood.
that's the sample he gave. And then he said for us to, if we don't go with that, to look through this or our color.
Yeah, cause like you can't get any of these colors right now. And like I use this is the board I drop with almost everyone, so I'm really familiar with this product.
Do we have to should we make a choice of color?
If you have a preference and you can look at it. Personally, I don't. have
I
a
don't,
preference.
but
I mean, I usually, women are more intuitive with color than men, so normally
Well, what's the color of the building? I don't remember. I would go brick, so it looked nice. Brick.
red brick,
Okay.
I mean, this weathered wood goes good with kind of everything, which is this one.
Mhm.
To me, once it's up there, it's all the
It
same.
doesn't matter really.
Yeah.
But
There's no like reflective properties or anything of any of them. It's all, you know, they're very similar because they all use similar pebbles and it's just the blend is what gets.
I'll let you guys make that choice. You don't want the colorblind guy doing it. Okay.
And then also on the roof over here,
Mhm.
I spoke to the city planning department after the last meeting.
This is the slate part.
Yes.
Oh, God.
And I asked them for names of people that could give us opinions. We called several. I think 2 have shown up. The one individual has been here before to look at the roofs when I first started, and he never called back or gave us anything. And the other one, he said he could do it, but he would recommend just repairing and not replacing. I did ask him like, how do you do that? When it's a steep slope up there without damaging the other one. He's like, yeah, that's the tricky part. So he's a 1-man shop.
Couldn't you do it with a man lift though?
He's like, he doesn't like using lifts. He said he would strap himself to the cupola.
Who is?
I have a card out there. I'll show you.
Alright.
I don't remember what his name was, but I have his card. He said he's a 1-man shop. He's been doing it for years on how he would do it. Some people don't like it because of the, you know, he doesn't think. He just does stuff like that. He said,
Yeah,
so he's done with lifts, you know, it's so steep there.
You'll have to show me what it is.
I'll show you the
I think
card.
I have a feeling I know.
So we
Kind of a specialty thing here, huh?
Slate is yeah.
Maybe you have any names of people that you know would do it?
Slate is really, not many people deal with it anymore.
That's
Just
right.
getting up on it, you'll damage more than.
That's why I asked him. He's like, because it's, once you try to get to the 4 or 5 that are missing,
That's the problem.
you're gonna break all the other ones loose. At least,
They get
that was my, knowing nothing about fixing a slate roof.
That's the gentleman that because you weren't here, I don't think, the gentleman I spoke with said the exact same thing, that he was leaning more towards replacement because you have to step on them and, you know, by fixing this one, you're gonna possibly compromise the 3 next to it.
So the city's position was a correctly installed slate roof should last 75 to 100 years.
Okay, and how
This
old
has
is it?
lasted 24.
Weren't there some issues with City Hall when Mr. Carey did some roof work there too with nails or screws and
You know, they had issues, but I don't know what.
how long that didn't last very long either.
So we're still looking into it.
You're looking
And
into
snow
it.
guards as well, because that's also a problem. It holds the snow and then it all comes down in one clump, front door and the driveway.
How about a big tarp?
I'll look into that as well. So, okay,
Ask the commission about, well, you know,
How would
maybe
that
we'll
look?
put a big
Yeah.
blue tarp over it.
No, it doesn't have to be blue.
Well, give them
slate
gray.
colored, a slate colored card. But yeah, so that's, we're still digging and trying to get other estimates and numbers, and so if you have any names of slate people, we'll take them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this guy is, I mean,
That also do prevailing wage. So you have to do slate and prevailing wage,
Have insurance for roofing.
yes. That's why I got.
but if this guy has done it before and it's a specialty that he,
If he's a one-man person, the chances of him having New York State workers' comp and liability insurance to go on a roof is very
well,
low.
double check all that. I know,
Very low that he is a one-man person and carries comp and liability for roofing. He might have like contractor's insurance, but it says very clearly does not cover work on a roof. That's it's a
Yeah.
different level.
so what do you think the insurance is for a guy who's a steeplejack?
Well, it's not a lot because anybody that's doing any commercial work, the owner is absolutely responsible to pay all of the damages, including reimbursement for workers' compensation. Any funds that he gets from his first party coverage is all gonna be repaid by the owner of the building.
Oh, really? Their
Their
insurance?
law requires that the owner is liable absolutely without a question of negligence for all injuries received by a workman in a height-related accident.
In a commercial building or private or both?
All commercial buildings,
Commercial.
the only exception is residences.
Oh,
But if you work out of your house, that becomes commercial.
oh, yes, yes. I see.
It's a horrible law.
So how about a religious facility?
But
A religious facility?
I could go further on this, out of this.
That's all I got.
Okay.
So I think that's all the non-agenda items that popped up since I.
what's expensive is you require your contractor to take out an insurance policy, that insures you as the owner. And in the event that any claims made by any workman falling, that his insurance company will cover you and pay all of your damages. That policy is astronomical. If the guy's working there, his insurance company's never gonna pay a dime.
Mhm.
The guy falls off the roof, it's all covered, the owner.
Well, the city also, to pull any permit now for roofing, the city wants workers' comp and liability in the city's name to do any roofing now.
Workers' comp is, workers' comp is difficult because they get repaid everything. And liability, that's only if they do damage to you. But when you look at this first party coverage in the event, like you fall off my roof, it's your fault. You didn't take it's 100% your fault.
It's no fault.
It's no fault. I have to pay all of your damages. Because I told Mike, if you get like a roofing accident, something like that, what's the coverage? I mean, how much you get, so 5 million? I mean, what can happen to a workman working on the roof?
Or you can never work again.
So the billboard on Broadway, but it's.
So jumping back to correspondence then,
Did you do what?
you're on, you
Not
are,
yet, that's
you're what?
exactly. So I just, email from 79 Emerson asking if the penalty be removed, and I have a draft letter to send back to her.
So how much is the penalty that she's looking for relief from?
I didn't even get that. I think it was one bill, so I'm sure it's
10% of,
say 80, 90 on the high end, maybe.
yes, and it's just the water bill, not the whole thing, right?
So $10 worth.
I mean, yeah,
We're
I
talking
don't have that written down. My computer's not turning on.
You want me to?
So, computer's still on, and
Yeah.
I'll take a look.
less than $15.
Probably less than 20.
Call it 30 on the high end, but maybe. Yeah, I should have had that written up.
It was a very interesting read.
it gets a little off.
A little off track there about,
I
Who
think
she
it
works
was just trying to make sure that you knew that, was responsible person and not something we usually would be doing this. Yeah.
Which
That's what I got from
she
it.
just didn't,
And just trying to get her.
So I didn't include the payment, the account information, just because I didn't wanna, I didn't feel comfortable mailing it out to everybody that we got.
Yeah.
So I mean, it started with a number and ended with the same number, and she's saying she mistook the first number as a symbol.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess mistakes can happen, but I think it was clearly the number it was,
I
but
know, and you know, unfortunately.
it's unfortunate that it was filled out incorrectly.
I know,
But-
it's just that, you know, so this is an honest person, they made an honest mistake, but then. Unfortunately, there are people who will like do things purposely, so then, you know, oh, I don't know, I guess it's just our policy again. And we have a policy, and unfortunately, we just can't make exceptions, even though we would like to.
You can't give away city money.
Yeah, you know, that's the point, yeah.
so the error was in like our bank account number that she was trying.
She submitted an EFT form to have the funds withdrawn from her account, and she submitted the wrong account number.
Hmm.
So when we went to draw the funds.
Her account or our account?
Her account.
Our account.
So when we had to draw the funds,
Yeah.
So how much, Mike?
25.75 in water.
$8.60, because that included the
Or
return.
the $20 fee
Yeah.
being returned as well, I'm including that as well.
Mhm. Okay, so 28.
If you include the sewer, it's 28
Oh.
with the sewer, 28.60. Oh, too far off. It's a 30.
You don't need anything from us, right?
You're good with the letter, I'll send the letter.
Anybody have a problem?
We do it.
Hmm?
What'd you say?
You feel her pain, but you can't legally.
Yeah, I
do it.
know, yeah, exactly, we can't legally do it, so. And people just don't understand that.
Okay. Superintendent's report? Quite a bit of rain, in August,
A little bit. Jeez. That was all like in like.
but September will be
3
just the
days.
other way. It's been dry here the last.
It was raining quite a bit on Saturday.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I came down
I
the
mean, I don't know what
thruway,
the number was, but we did get a decent amount of rain on Saturday.
I came down the thruway Saturday afternoon. And from Albany down to Kingston, I just. Sheet of rain, just. Maybe I was just in that little.
There's enough to set the cameras off.
Yeah, okay. Nice. There's no questions, motion to accept the superintendent's report.
Motion.
Second,
Second,
those in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Carried. Anything for executive session?
I got a personnel thing. I want
Okay,
to touch on.
so I need a,
I'll make the motion.
go into second,
Executive session.
okay, those in favor? Okay, favor? Okay, I guess a motion to adjourn then, right?
I'll make the motion.
second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Very quiet.
I said,